And a jolly good morning to you from a still rather overcast, slightly cool summer day here in the south of England, in Kent. And today I am in Folkestone, just outside Folkestone Central Railway Station. And today's walk, I'm going to take a walk from here to Dover Priory Station via the coast, along the coast. And it should take around about 3.5 hours. It's about 9.5 miles. And if I was to take the same journey by train from here in Folkestone to Dover, it takes, I think, about 8 minutes or 10 minutes, something like that. Not very long. Walking obviously takes a lot longer, and I suspect driving would be somewhere in between, as would the bus. So I'm going to set off now. I've got my trusty Go Jauntly app on the go today, which should hopefully take me or route me through some slightly more interesting places than this busy main road, which is where I'm going to be starting this morning. So let's go. Let's see what we see along the way. And first stop will be the first place I see that's selling coffee. First place of interest really just outside the station here is Radnor Park, which currently seems to have a fun fair set up in it. I'm sure that's not here all the time. And this rather interesting looking Radnor Park tea room, which is currently closed. It is about 8:15 in the morning, so I'm expecting it to start warming up a little bit as we go along. It's still quite cool, but for the time of year, the last few weeks anyway, have been very cool. We should be getting into the 20s every day at the moment, and we're lucky to get to the mid-teens. I don't know what nefarious activities were going on back there near the public toilets, but whatever they were, they didn't seem to like me heading in that direction. Luckily I don't need to. All ablutions complete. For those of you that don't know, Folkestone and in particular Dover are well known for their channel crossing ports. I'm not even sure if there is even any ferries that go from Folkestone anymore, but they certainly used to, and hovercrafts over to Dover and to Boulogne. There are still ferries definitely from Dover. And of course the entrance to the Channel Tunnel is not that far away from here, where you can get the Eurostar. Well, Eurostar from London, you'll enter the tunnel here, or you can enter the tunnel here on the vehicle carrying shuttle service. Is it still called a shuttle? I'm not sure, but that's what it used to be called, at least anyway, and that will take you across to Calais on the other side, where you will get off and carry on driving. So just leaving Radnor Park behind, and crossed over the Radnor Park Road, heading down what I think is into the centre, or towards the centre of Folkestone. It's been a very long time since I came here, and when I did come here I must have come to Folkestone Central, and I do remember walking down to where the old ferry port was, and where all the well, back in the day there used to be a lot of fishmongers where you could go and buy fresh fish from the stalls, from the little shops down there. Quite popular thing to do. Not sure if that's still a thing here. Certainly as I say, the ferry port has had better days, let's put it like that. Yeah, I'm heading down towards the harbour. I've just seen a sign, so yeah, funnily enough I don't remember walking down here, but I must have done. It was quite a while ago though. Just had a little look at my routing on the Go Jauntly app, and I seem to be being routed mostly around the back end of Folkestone, not down to the harbour itself. I can't really justify adding that in today due to time constraints. I've got approximately 30 minutes to play with, and that can soon get eaten up by taking wrong turnings or getting distracted by other interesting things along the way. So anyway, we'll see what we come to. The app's telling me 3 hours 30, so I've got 4 hours until I need to be on a train. shouldn't be a problem. Down the bottom here, Black Bull Road, and that'll be the direction you took in the car, at least if you were heading towards Dover. Town centre and harbour to the right, although I won't be taking that direction today. We just came round the corner onto this road here. I'm going to be taking a right shortly by Top's Pizza, but I'm just looking for the fishmongers because there was a really strong smell of fresh fish somewhere. There was a fish and chip shop, which of course it could have been coming from if it just had a delivery of fresh fish, but certainly was a very nice fresh fish smell. Let's put my teeth back in. I'm heading up Linden Crescent now, and here's a park. I don't seem to see the name of it on the map, but it's certainly one that appears to have been allowed to overgrow railings by Julian Good, supported by the Arts Council of England. Anyway, whatever, they've allowed that to overgrow or grow to let the wildlife, insects, birds and so on thrive. I think just over the other side where there's a children's playground. I think it's all cut down there, but just here, yeah, and some football pitches over there. But from the start, it looked like it was completely overgrown for the whole size of it, which is quite a sizable green grassy area. I've a feeling that I might be going over that hill in the distance there. Can't be certain on that, but the app gives you an idea of how much elevation you're going to be dealing with on any given walk, and this is showing 297 metres up and 297 metres back down again throughout the course of the walk. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially hopefully going over this hill. And it did state that try not to get run over. It did state that it's quite steep in parts. Luckily today the weather's dry, and I've also got some reasonable footwear on, so shouldn't be an issue. Gotta love this app. It does send you up many a pathway or little road that you would not ordinarily choose if you were just following your own nose and instinct. It's called Green Lane. Not too sure if it's really a thoroughfare as such. Certainly is a road that leads to the back of a lot of houses, backyards and garages. So I think maybe at times things happen down here that perhaps shouldn't do. Looking at some of the broken glass and litter that's been left about, a bit of a shame, but there you go. I do think a fair proportion of this walk is, or the uphill part of it is right here at the beginning, because this has been a steady walk up from back down where the left turn was towards Dover, and it continues. It probably doesn't really show on the video how steep it is. It's not massively steep, this portion of it, but I know I'm going uphill, put it like that. I'm kind of hoping I'm going straight up to the top of the hill ahead of me. That'll be interesting to get up on the cliffs there and walk around to Dover that way. But as I say, we'll follow the app, see where it takes us. Oh no, turned off that hill. I seem to be winding through more of the suburbs of Folkestone now. Still going uphill though, and the route on the app seems to be sending me just below the North Downs and the North Downs Way or North Downs Path. I guess I could take that route instead, but I will follow the app just for today. as it gives me a clear idea of timings. I'm sure I'll end up there somewhere at some point. Looks beautiful up there actually. Just decided to get the app to reroute me slightly. There's two routes, one taking you off down Weir Bay Road, Weir Bay Road, and the other up here, Dover Road, and just they're more or less the same length of time, but bar a couple of minutes. This one appears to be more interesting at least, so I'm going to take this one. And I think this was the other option I was given once when I was back at Folkestone station. I opted for the other route, but I think on reflection this looks like it probably will be better and less walking on busy main roads, which is always my aim with these walks. Get away from having to battle fumes and stuff from cars and lorries. Still going uphill though. So this 297 metres upwards, must be digging well into that by now. And just realigning slightly to the second walk down this alleyway. I think I'll take a left turn up into those trees. Once I get up the top there, should be looking at some really nice views over the English Channel. Not sure if it's clear enough if you can see France today, but you usually can on a clear day. Now this is starting to look a little bit more interesting. I walked straight past this, never even noticed it was there. This has got somewhat overgrown, I think. I wasn't expecting this. I mean, people do come down here. I can see by the amount of footsteps in the mud, and because it's so grown over, all the rain we've had, it's still quite wet down here, whereas everywhere else has pretty much dried up now. Well, that was an interesting little reroute. Oh, here we are, back out of that. Yeah. Fantastic, love it. I love using this app because it does send you up alleyways and places that you really would not go up normally. Just check the elevation on the map, and I'm about 120 metres above sea level now, and so a little way to go upwards yet. First glimpse of the sea really, and the harbour wall. So it's pretty wet down here still. Everything is growing incredibly fast this time of year because of the amount of moisture, and long days. I won't say they're particularly sunny, but they're certainly bright in most cases, and rain and sunshine tends to make things grow in abundance. Absolutely soaking wet boots now. Luckily they're nicely waterproof, so come up to Dover Hill, or Dover Hill Road I think it is, and another stile. Clearly didn't need to worry about whether France was visible today or not. There she is over the sea, 22 to 25 miles away, and lots of ships in the one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world there, the English Channel. Still on Dover Hill, still going uphill, still next to a busy road. Hopefully we'll veer off that soon. Just going to be crossing over the path of the North Downs Way, eastern section, and I'm not entirely sure why part of this walk today, created by the app, hasn't sent me along there. Just looking at the route of it, because the app is not necessarily trying to send you the fastest way, it tries to send you the best way. However, I'll reserve judgment for the moment on this particular one. And the North Downs Way, if I was to go to the right there, says Dover 6 miles. And the Valiant Sailor Pub. A bit early for that, but at another time of day that'll be a great place to stop for a bit of refreshment. Right. I've just had a little stop for a moment just to have a think about this, and I've decided to take the North Downs Way, despite the fact the Go Jauntly app doesn't seem to want me to go down there. Even while I'm stood right next to it, it's not even offering it up as an option. Now, this could be possibly because I've put in Dover Priory Station, which is towards the back of the town, and it's kind of edging me in that direction, whereas the North Downs Way tends to hug the coast much more closely. That's possibly it. So decision made, I'm going to take the North Downs Way, and then I shall re-enter the details once I've got down here by about a mile or so, and see if it carries me on this route. It's always interesting, and as I say, when you set off on a walk from A to B, particularly from A to B, it's best just to keep a little eye on the kind of route it's sending you, as there may be some alternatives that appear to be better than the one that the app is sending you. So I'm just going to keep following these signs. That says welcome to Folkestone Warren, so I'm just leaving Folkestone Warren, I'm guessing. Hopefully this North Downs Way won't be too muddy and uneven. It should be okay. We've got short cliffs underneath us, which normally means that drainage is pretty good. And already this feels better away from a road. Sometimes walking on roads are completely unavoidable, but wherever possible I like to try and do it. And the path is understandably set quite a distance from the edge of the cliffs or the hill there. Don't want it too close, otherwise with cliff erosion I'll be forever having to redo it. Had to just stop there to have a very big hay fever pollen sneeze. Pollen hay fever sneeze, I should say. And if you hear any random sniffs on here, I do apologise for that. But it is that time of year where my eyes itch a lot, my nose runs a lot, and I sneeze a lot, despite taking medication for it. You've got to press on, haven't you? Can't let these things stop you doing what you want to do. Absolutely stunning views from up here, and just down there you can just see the railway line that runs between Folkestone and Dover as it winds its way along the coast and through the tunnels where they can't get round the rocks. And again over there we see jolly old France. Beautiful. And we've reached the Battle of Britain Memorial, New Dover Road, couple of Fern, and this will be interesting to have a little look around. So I'm a bit slightly limited for time. This warrants a visit in its own right, so if you're interested in Battle of Britain exhibitions and so on, then factor that into your visit or walk along the coast here. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Seems to be a visitor centre over there with what looks to be the cafeteria and so on, and general facilities, maybe a shop, toilets and so on. As I say, I've not really got time. It is interesting here, they are warning you that there are snakes. There's a habitat for adders, and of course there is the danger of being able to fall off the cliffs here, so you definitely do need to look after your children if you bring them up here, and make sure they don't step too close to these cliffs over here. Absolutely splendid views, and you can imagine how this was a perfect vantage point during the war to look out for invaders. Coming across the English Channel. Reminds me of Dad's Army. Little sign here saying open now. I think I'm still on the what would be classed as the North Downs footpath just here, and probably why they've put a sound there. Visit the Cockpit Cafe. Absolutely fantastic views. Yes, free Wi-Fi, excellent, hot and cold food, drinks and ice creams. What more could you ask for? And just look at the view there. That's back down to Folkestone, the harbour, and that was quite busy at one time with ferries and hovercrafts going across to Boulogne mostly, I think, from there. And I've been on many a trip across the channel from there. Sadly, it's all been sanitised and turned into a tunnel, and it might be great for speed and efficiency getting you across the channel, but it's nothing like as much fun as going on a car ferry. I say that as somebody that doesn't suffer from seasickness. It could be quite a bumpy affair getting across the English Channel there, and as many will testify, it could be rather unpleasant for an hour or so as you go across. I've just got to try and establish now where the walk continues. I'm just leaving the Battle of Britain Memorial. I think it must be over here. I can see a sign pointing towards a footpath. Hopefully this is it. And indeed it is. Back to normal, back to the England coast path, North Downs Way, and we leave the Battle of Britain Memorial. I feel a little naughty not to have spent a little more time there. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting to be walking through that today, otherwise I might have been able to factor in a bit more time to show respect, have a little look. It was very interesting and worthy of anyone's time, I would say, if they're in these parts. So just bear that in mind if you are walking up here. But it's absolutely glorious. I mean, it's not a particularly nice day today, a bit overcast, not particularly warm. It's certainly warm enough to walk in, and fabulous views over the channel. I will say this walk, as I've so far done it, is not particularly accessible if you have mobility issues. As you can see now, I'm going down some quite steep and uneven stairs, so you need to have a reasonable level of balance and coordination to not fall down it. So bear that one in mind if you're planning to come here. Just see over in the distance the White Cliffs of Dover, which if you ask any person from overseas that has never been to Britain before, what do they know about Britain, that's one of the things they will mention to you, of course. Big Ben, River Thames, White Cliffs of Dover, and a whole host of other things that are dotted around this country, but certainly the White Cliffs are something that gets mentioned a lot. And it's very much, when you make your first ever visit to this country, back in the day when you would have tended to arrive by car ferry, that's the first thing you would see in the distance, the White Cliffs of Dover, as you got nearer and nearer to them. Yeah, it's not entirely well signposted at points, be easy to miss it. I just managed to find that there's a lot of steps for that to come back up, and here comes some more beautiful houses up here and gardens. I'm not going to pan the camera in. I find that a bit rude, to be fair, invading people's privacy. But just to my left here, if you walk along this path, you'll see some lovely houses and nice gardens with absolutely gorgeous views over the English Channel. Oh wow! As you can see, you would need to keep an eye on anyone that's likely to go stray near to the edge. A lot of the way along there's kind of vegetation that forms a kind of a fence just here, and then there's places where that doesn't really exist, so it wouldn't be difficult to get into trouble and end up falling down those cliffs. So that's something to bear in mind as well if you head on up here, though anyone with an ounce of sense wouldn't let that happen, obviously. Let's see some can't really film it from here, they've just gone out of view now, but you can see the car ferries from Dover, one of them at least, ploughing its way over towards Calais. Not as many car ferries as there used to be, of course. They used to be really frequent, and you could almost just turn up and get on, and only really needed reservations at peak times. Nowadays there's a lot fewer crossings. They don't really encourage foot passengers anymore, I don't think, anyway. I've noticed a few YouTubers that have gone on various car ferries and that used to take a lot of foot passengers over for the day, used to connect with train services. A lot of that stopped now, and it's while I think you can still actually do it, it's a lot less easy than it used to be. But maybe it will come back. It's just I just find it a nice way of spending a few hours. Not so much Calais is not so great, but certainly Boulogne, if they had ferries there. Back again, yes, just walk off the ferry straight into the town, buy a bit of cheese, pate, head on back. Now you just go to Sainsbury's, I suppose, and buy it. Same stuff. Times have changed. Not always for the better, but certainly as far as buying food and getting food from other countries is concerned, you can more or less get everything in Britain. More or less absolutely everything. And very often it's no more expensive than if you went to the country where it originates and you bought it there. What a place. what a place for some benches, and pity one of them's been vandalised or has fallen to bits, could do with replacing. The other two benches look okay and in sound condition, and what a lovely place to sit for a while. Yeah, that needs a bit of renovation work doing to it. And yeah, bring your flask and some sandwiches up here. Fantastic. These houses here, certainly to my left, have got some absolutely fabulous views. I imagine they are very pricey. See, there's a nice new bench there. That's been recently put there or recently renovated. And still we see Folkestone over there disappearing into the distance. Probably about 4.5-5 miles now from Dover, probably coming towards the halfway point in this walk. And so far it's been pretty good once I've hauled myself out of Folkestone itself. Folkestone itself has got things worthy of seeing, but just didn't see them on this particular walk. And I'll maybe do that as a separate walk at some point, just around the town itself, where you can go and buy your fresh fish and so on. But I think a lot of businesses are struggling there because of the lack of car ferries these days, and people that would... used to be a big hotel on the seafront, I'm not sure if it's still there, something called like Bursting or something like that, I can't remember the name of it now. That used to do weekend break packages that included a couple of nights in the hotel and the car ferry across and what have you. So people would come down across the country, because obviously you need to, if you want to spend a day go to France, you need to be here quite early, and it'd be a very, very long day if you're travelling from other parts of the country to get here in the first place. He took a wrong turning then to some pathway that kind of just pretty much disintegrated and looked like it's heading down the side of the cliff, so definitely don't want that. Back on the right path now. I'm still intrigued to understand why the Go Jauntly app didn't actually send me this route, or at least offer it as a slightly longer alternative. As it's absolutely stunning from up here. Just a quiet road just along the top there. A few people with their camper vans parked up, and some quite nice small houses. And this walk and the views across the English Channel, fabulous. Certainly not to be missed if you are in these parts. I would probably allow, if you're in either Dover or Folkestone, 4 hours, and maybe a bit longer if you want to have a look around the Battle of Britain Memorial, and then maybe get a bus or train back to where you started, which is pretty much what I'm going to be doing today, since I'm going to be going past Folkestone on the way back and heading on to London, but that's another story. The views just get better and better as static homes, caravan park, or whatever you want to call it, static caravan park just to my left, overlooking the sea here. Absolutely splendid. Sea's looking really great. I don't know if the colour of it's coming out particularly well on the camera, but it's really nice and turquoisey through my eyes. The walk just veers off to the left and up over there, and then rejoins the footpath further along here, probably about half a mile away. It looks like it's just an alternative route to take. There's no real indication as to why you would take one or the other, but one's the North Downs Walk and one is North Downs Walk. Eastern section. That one can end up on the one of the what happened next. Luckily, I'm not by a cliff. Don't worry, I wasn't about to end up in the English Channel. Hope I didn't use any choice language there. I don't think I did. Maybe I should have taken that other route. This is beautiful along here. Fabulous view of that beach down there. Not quite sure how you'd get to it. There does seem to be access down there from that level. Maybe there's a coastal footpath down the bottom there as well. Very possibly where I was originally routed. Anyway, we're up here now, and it's fantastic. Thankfully, some railings as well. Interesting structure. And I'm guessing this is where the eastern section rejoins and turns into a bit more of a path. In fact, this would make a good cycle path as well. And I can see exactly where I'm heading to now. Well, this walk so far has turned out much better than I thought it was going to be. I knew it'd be good, and I knew that the views along this part of the coast were okay. I just wasn't quite sure which route I'll be taking, and I'm definitely pleased I took the North Downs route rather than rely entirely on the app today. As I say, you've got to use the apps for purposes such as distance and timings, especially if you're limited to the amount of time you've got, and then adapt accordingly as you're going along. That's probably the most sensible way of dealing with it all. And that is a listening ear. It was used to try and listen for enemy aircraft heading across. If you go around the other side of it, which I'm not going to do because it looks a bit uneven down there, but it's kind of like a inverted dome. You can kind of see the outside of it here, and then you can put a listening device and that would gather in all the sounds coming from out to sea. And in fact, actually it doesn't look too bad in this direction. Just go down there and get a view of it. This was one way of detecting the sound of enemy aircraft coming. Fantastic when you think about that was the technology available at the time. Big concrete inverted dome. Right, so here's a sign. These signs are very useful. They're all along these downs walks, and it's saying half a mile to Samphire Hoe, so we're just coming up to that now. 3 3/4 miles to Dover, and 5 1/4 miles back to Folkestone, and 34 1/4 miles to Rye. Now that would be a lovely walk all the way to Rye. Won't be doing that today though. I'm constantly staggered at the beauty of the country that I live in, and feel very, very pleased and very honoured to live here, very proud to live here, and I find it incredible. It's such a small country with such a diverse range of places to see, types of scenery, from the South Downs or North Downs and the Downs here in the south of England, I should say, up to places like the Cotswolds, Lake District, Peak District, and the incredible Highlands of Scotland, in such a relatively small country. And you can go from really tatty little unloved towns to beautifully loved small towns and villages and cities right the way across the country. It varies so much. It's quite astounding how easily you can, if you live in an area that is maybe very busy or lots of traffic, lots of people, and it becomes too much, how easy it is just to get away from that environment if you want to, and find places like this. I've been walking now for round about an hour and 3/4, I should say, and the first 30 minutes of that, I suppose, was still in Folkestone with cars and traffic and so on, and then it's just been all countryside and up on the cliffs here all the way. And I've seen 2 other people walking in the opposite direction. Both stopped to say hello, and that's how it is when you get out here, and long may that continue. Now I'm guessing that this is a ventilation shaft for the railway tunnel that is directly below us, from that railway line I showed you earlier on. That's going underneath the cliff here, and that will be a ventilation shaft, as it's quite a long tunnel. And if you were to climb on top of that, which I don't recommend you do, and look inside, there'd be a grille there to stop anybody or anything falling down, but you should be able to see through the grille, and you'd, if you waited long enough, you'd see a train whistling by underneath. As I say, I don't recommend you do that, wouldn't be wise, but that's what that is. Stems back to the days really of steam trains, of course, but also to regulate the pressure within the tunnels when you've got trains moving in high speed in opposite directions. Can cause a lot of air turbulence and so on. So that helps, and if you stand by one of those ventilation shafts when a train's going through underneath, you can normally hear it and hear the roar of the air as it gets pushed out from the tunnel and then sucked back in again afterwards once the train's gone past it. Yeah, the more I've got round this away from Folkestone and round the corner a little bit towards Dover, you just see quite how many ships are in the English Channel. Absolutely phenomenal amount. I do miss seeing the hovercrafts going back and to though. Fantastic and fantastic transport of the past. I think there's one or two still knocking about around the world, but on the whole, not many of them now. I've talked about this in previous videos, but there aren't many countries in the world where you've got so much access to the countryside and across land, particularly public footpaths that are routed across farmers' fields and land. They're protected, and it takes an awful lot to get footpaths like that removed or closed, and there's always a massive outcry from people like me if anybody wants to actually do that, and rightly so. It's an important part of our heritage, being able to walk and visit the countryside. I was talking to a South African couple a few weeks ago. They were walking the Camino here in Kent up to Canterbury, and I crossed their path at one point, and they were from South Africa, as I say, and we were talking about this, how you've just got so many public footpaths and rights of way through land. And they said, oh yeah, back in South Africa, so if you venture onto someone's land that you weren't supposed to have wandered into, they'll probably shoot you. And I'm thinking, wow, I mean, you know, if you venture into someone's private land here where you're not supposed to go, the consequences wouldn't be as serious as that by any means. You might be politely asked to leave and shown the exit, and if you're up to no good when you were there, maybe the police would get called. But on the whole, most people venture onto other people's land by mistake rather than to do something they shouldn't do, and that's how it would be treated here, as a mistake rather than a serious trespass incident. But yeah, I do feel very privileged to live in a country that allows such freedoms, even in Europe. Sometimes it's very difficult to find rights of way across farmland and so on that aren't official. There's very few, or a lot less than there are here anyway, so we have to count ourselves very lucky that we have that. This used to be tarmac just here. I'm wondering if this was actually a road once. There is an actual road just over to my left. You can't really see it from here, but I can hear it. This was maybe the original coastal road many years ago. I don't really know, but certainly it was. I'm sure that all this tarmac wasn't put down just as a footpath. There must have been something else here at one time. Absolutely splendid day for going for a walk, as so the sun's not really broken through properly, but there's sufficient there to give it a pleasant feeling. It's now 10:30. It's starting to warm up a little bit. I think there's going to be some rain later, but I think I'll be willing to. Well, actually, funnily enough, I can feel a few little spots of rain now, but I very much doubt it's going to amount to much. But it's certainly a lovely day for walking. Not too hot, nice breeze, and not too much direct sunlight to burn the skin. So certainly is a nice coastal path down there to be walking along. I can see someone in a mobility scooter actually on this, the one that goes through the grass there. So it must be fairly even. And then there's the path right up against the seawall. And there is Dover Harbour, just the edge of it. So we're getting our way there, and heading towards the end of this walk. Absolutely fantastic up here. A bit of downhill to go down into the town. So I'm going to press on. Not that you can see it, of course, because it's already gone underground, way over there. but we're pretty much on the spot of where the Channel Tunnel has already gone underneath and begins its journey under the sea, according to the map at least. If I was on the Channel Tunnel, I'll be heading off in that direction out towards Calais. I'm not sure if if the Channel Tunnel's got ventilation shafts as such. It's probably got something a bit more sophisticated than that for keeping the air pressure and everything down there safe. I'm going to get back towards the road now. The walk is going to be, generally speaking, on a downward direction now. All the way into Dover itself. I can just see the white cliffs over there and the port peeking its way, one or two boats in the harbour, or ships I should say, and we're close to that busy main road now. Wow, and yeah, start to feel like beginning to get towards the end of this walk. There's a busy main road down there, which hopefully I won't have to get too near to. Heading down towards the port of Dover. Town sort of nestles just inside a little bit to the left. So I'm going to have to, once I get down there, sort of head up into the main part of the town towards the railway station. There was a station down at the harbour at one time. I don't suppose it's there anymore. Dover Priory seems to be the only one, which is a pity, but less people travel by boat and train and boat to the continent now, so probably not really needed. This is really quite steep just coming up, so I'm going to put the camera in my pocket, otherwise I might have another incident like I did earlier on. A few more, just see a few more ventilation shafts there. That'll be for the same tunnel that I saw the ventilation shafts from earlier on the line between Folkestone and Dover. Oh, it's funny weather today. Started to warm up a little bit now. It is getting on towards noon, middle of the day, and it is June. So I don't know why I'm surprised by that, although it was fairly chilly earlier on. But the humidity is high. There's been so much rain. There's a lot of moisture in all the vegetation, causing it to be extremely humid. Just see a P&O ferry on its way out over there. Where are we? There we go. Hold that steadier. And as march down in towards the port area of Dover, followed by the town itself. I always think the beach just near the port here looks really, really nice. I don't know if it actually is in reality, but whenever you go past it, I went past it on the train a few days ago, and yeah, it always looks quite appealing, although I've never seen too many people actually on it. I suppose it's a little bit close really to noise from the port and so on, but looks nice and sandy all the same. And there's the railway line coming out the other side of the cliff. Makes you wonder sometimes, doesn't it? Wouldn't it have been easier just to get the train? Maybe. There's the beach I was talking about. Never see too many on it. It does look nice from up here. Maybe further down it isn't quite so. I have a feeling the rather aesthetically pleasing cliff top walk is now over with, and is almost back down into down to sea level by the port. And well, let's see what else there is to see between here and the middle of Dover. That was the path. Seems to have closed it off a little bit. Oh, so managed to get over the other side of that busy road, stopped for a quick drink and a sandwich, and now we're at somewhere called Western Heights, Dover. So this is the last leg really. It also forms part of the North Downs Way according to the little sign there. But yeah, had to get you through housing estates and across a busy main road to get here. But here we are. Could have carried on the sea wall, but I think that's not much fun once you get as far as the port, so I decided to come this way. Clambering up hills are much more fun. You know, I just sat on some steps back there. I wish I'd known that was there. God, I took a pew and enjoyed the view. As I was saying earlier, with all this sunshine and rain and relatively warm temperatures, everything's become so overgrown. This path, it's getting a little long now. This path is clearly not walked that often, as it's really quite overgrown and almost disappeared in places. I'll plough through. Luckily, I have long trousers on today, otherwise my legs would be stung to pieces with the various nettles and so on. I appear to be coming up to something of a more defined footpath up here, which is good. It's quite slow going moving through this. Wow, and this is still the North Downs Way. Right, so out of the overgrown footpath, coming up towards Centre Road apparently, right on the outskirts really of Dover now. I'm just going to be heading through the suburbs of the town up towards the railway station. I'm not going to go into the town centre itself. I've kind of begun to run out of time now, so I need to get a bit of a bib on and then head back on my way towards London. This is not a bad little corner of Dover, to be fair. So there is a bit of a diversion you can go on here. There's English Heritage Western Heights, a network of fortifications defending Dover, and the Western Heights Trail, Drop, Redoubt Fort and Grand Shaft. Sounds somewhere that I would be very interested in going to visit, and it's part of the England coastal path if you happen to be up this way. I've left myself a little short on time now. Had a sort of a 30-minute buffer which I've kind of eaten into with a couple of distractions along the way, let's say, and I've got to go in the most direct route back to the railway station now, which is about a mile away from here, so I'm sure there's still something interesting to see during this last little part of the walk. This was a station to station walk after all. I like doing station to station walks, and primarily it's a good point to start and end any journey if you've got to then travel onwards to your home, if you're not walking in an area where you live, and I most definitely do not live in this area. Yeah, I'd heard about the fortifications here in Dover as an interesting place to visit, so I shall pop that on my ever increasing list of things to see and do in all parts of the UK. Today for me was very much getting in as many steps as possible and walking a new route that I've not walked before, so those boxes are most definitely ticked, and job's a good one. All downhill now. I think the railway station is pretty low down at pretty much at sea level. It kind of comes in from Sandwich, I think's the next station along, comes into Dover from there, and then kind of curls round towards the port, and then along the coast towards Folkestone, and then curls back in again to Folkestone station, which is, I don't know, approximately a mile or so, I should say, inland. The line between Dover and Folkestone, I think, also included stations at the harbours at one time, which don't appear to exist anymore. And so as I just take the final steps down into the town of Dover, you can see on the screen there Dover Castle, which I've not personally been to, but I know plenty of people that have, and they inform me it's well worthy of the walk up there. Sadly, again, I've not quite got time for that today, but I'll be adding it to a list, and probably a video just for Dover itself that I'll do in the future. And we'll include the castle, of course, and the other stuff we've just seen back there, the drop redoubt fort and Grand Shaft, Western Heights Trail, etc. So that's for another day. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been approximately a 9-mile walk, or at least it will be by the time I get to the station, which is way over to my left now. I'm actually going to go into the town to grab some food before I go up. I've got just about enough time to do that, so I shall go and do that and head up to the station straight afterwards. So thanks a lot for watching this video. If you did like it and enjoyed it, please click on the like button. If you want to see some more of my other videos of all around the UK, Europe and beyond, walks here, there and kind of everywhere, then press subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it will let you know when I release new ones. And you can click a bell as well, which I think does kind of a similar thing, so I'm not really sure. You know the score anyway if you watch YouTube regularly. So thanks a lot for watching from Dover and the walk from Folkestone. Cheers, bye for now.